welcome to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danica. Along with me, we have Chief Alvin Cockerham with Morgan City Fire Department. Always a pleasure to have you.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Always a pleasure to be here.
Not very often, but I'm going to take advantage of the fact that you're here. So I just want to actually kind of do, if we can, a recap, a review of 2024. Because I'd like to know just how busy or maybe how not so busy you were.
Well, 2024 was a pretty busy year for us. We do a lot more medical calls than we used to. We ran around almost 1,200 calls last year. And it's about 65% of that was medical calls. That's anything from car wrecks to people injured in car wrecks to CPR, anything that comes along that we can help out until Acadian arrives on the scene, and we can help them whatever we can do to help either way.
Now, I will tell you, I've actually learned just through having a personal relationship with, the local fire department, that you guys are doing a lot more medical. When kids say, I want to be a firefighter, or, when I grow older, they're thinking they're going to fight fires. However, you guys have really gone very extensively into the medical industry. You're, like you said, you're administering CPR. Even you're getting calls for people who are diabetic.
Yes.
And you're really a true first responder. Sometimes you're there before the ambulatory services are there.
That's true. We have a good response, and a lot of times the ambulance service is overwhelmed. They may have several calls going on at the same time, and we try to get there when we can do the basics to stabilize them until they get there with their paramedics. We do a lot of some people have diabetic problems and stuff like that. We do CPR if somebody's having trouble breathing or having major problems breathing or heart trouble. And there's been instances we've brought people back. Mm-hmm. And when Acadian gets there, we'll continue to work with them on any kind of a major life-threatening situation.
This has really become a part of your training and certification.
Yes, it does.
Do you have to constantly train on this? Is it recertifications every
year?
Yes,
we are basic EMR, and we have some EMTs. Every 2 years you have to recertify. We got a class coming up on the 9th and the 10th of this week for EMR and recertification for EMT. We have several people that have taken the course, the EMT course, and are certified EMTs.
Yes. Now, I know you said you had 1,200 calls.
Yes, ma'am.
What's an average number of calls that you get?
Well, it used to be around 800 calls or something like that, or 600 calls. That would be fires and stuff like that. The other part of it is, but most of them most of it is major medical calls. It's just the way things are, and most fire departments are going to this. They're trying to get people trained in this medical, and it's just a lot of it's basic medical training, but it made a big difference to someone that living or dying.
Sure does. And again, you're getting calls even if it's not a fire. So yes. A lot of times, if you want to become a firefighter, these are some of the skills that you're asked to pick up.
Well,
do you think that that's going to be, I guess, attractive to when it comes to recruiting?
Well, I hope so. We try and inform our recruits what they're going to be doing. They'll go to the academy in Baton Rouge for the firefighting and the driver training, and hazardous material, that's a part of it. Hazmat, any kind of bad spills, anything like that. The medical part is becoming a curriculum at LSU. I'm not at LSU anymore. It's taken over by the state fire marshal's office. But yes, more and more departments are going to the medical part of it because they see a need for it, and we can fill a gap that needs to be filling and help out what we got now.
Now, there's some departments that have actually started their own ambulance services.
Yes. The larger departments where you have enough money to get it off the ground and get it going, it's worked real well. It more or less pays for itself just through the insurance company and what these folks have insurance on. We looked into it, and it was a lot of money to start off. You have to buy ambulance, you have to have special people trained, and it's really kind of expensive to start. But once you get it started, it more or less pays for itself.
And we definitely could use it because, like you said, the ambulance services that we have now are pretty overwhelmed.
Yeah.
If you recall, I think you know this, they usually are set up most of the time, but when I see them, they're in Rickahawk. So they are working both ends of the parish. You have them sitting in Rickahawk because it's kind of the middle of the parish, whether you have to go all the way to Baldwin, Four Corners, or maybe go to Amelia and Morgan City. They're stationed there, and oftentimes, yes, many people, the first person you see is a firefighter.
That's right, yes. And we have some well-trained people. They do real good on what they're trained for. I got some real good MTs, and they made a big difference on how we perform too.
With that said, do you think you guys deserve more money?
Well, we always deserve more money.
Well, me
Everybody
too.
feels that, yeah. But yeah, we passed that tax last year before last, and it's helped a lot. It really has.
Awesome. All right. Well, with that said, we're going to come on back. You guys stay with us right here on the Voice of the Coast. We have much more to cover. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. Let's get right back into with Chief Alvin Cockerham with Morgan City Fire Department. One thing I definitely want to talk about fire ratings.
Yes, ma'am.
And just so folks will know, a 1 is the best and a 10 is the worst, even though it might seem just the other way around.
That's the way it works.
But where are we in Morgan City?
We're a class 3.
Okay, not bad.
Not bad at all
Okay.
for a town, a small town. We do pretty good with it.
Yeah. So what have you implemented to kind of get you to a class 3?
Well, we went up on our training program. That's a lot of it. We have good equipment. But the city has purchased good new apparatus, and we're in good shape on that. Our downfall is mostly personnel, the number of personnel. The fire rating consists of 50% for the fire department, 40% for the water department, water distribution system, and 10% for the communications, which is 911. The 911 just installed a CAD system, which is computer operated assisted dispatch, which has helped a lot on that part. It brought up a few points there. The water system you can only do so much with it. It's so expensive to, just like hiring people here is so much expensive. It's about the money,
Yeah.
And they have done the best they could with what money they had, and we've done the same thing.
And being a class 3, that kind of equates to where we are with our insurance rates.
That's right.
Because
That's right.
the lower, the better, and it also reflects well in our insurance
Yes.
rates.
Especially on businesses. The businesses parts, if you go from a 3 to a 4, the big difference in the amount of money you have to pay. And not so much on residential, but on the business is the main thing. Now, if you go down 3 or 4 points, then you will notice on your homeowners a lot, and businesses.
Yes. One other thing, I know we've talked about, where you were in 2024, 1,200 calls, really, really high, almost double what you used to at
Yes.
some point. I know you can't see into the future, but what do you think your 2025 will look like?
I think we'll make more medical calls as
or-
we go into it.
Say it again?
I think we'll do more medical calls as we go to it. Hopefully, we don't, but that's just the way the trend is looking.
Okay.
Hopefully, we keep up with the training, and we do our best to keep up with the amount of training we need. And you always want more people, and hopefully we can. We got 2 young men just came out the academy. We've got another one going in, and we lost some people to Some people retired, some people went to other jobs. But that's just everybody has that problem. But the best we can hoping we'll probably be busier when it looks.
Let's talk about something. You mentioned retirement. You're in the best shape that you've ever been. I know you work out often.
Yes, ma'am.
Is retirement in your future?
Not as long as my health holds up.
Okay.
Unless the city fathers decide different,
But that's the love for it, right?
Yeah, I do. I love it. I always have.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Awesome. So we have some recruitment coming up.
Yes.
And I wanted to do this interview with this young lady. She never got around to doing it, but
Yeah.
you had a young lady, but she's
Yes.
no longer there. So, we're talking about firefighters, and typically you mostly see men, but also you welcome women.
Yes, of course. And they come in, and this lady was fantastic. It was a great employee. I wish I had more men or women like her.
Right.
And I hate to lose her, but I understand that, people move on in different phases of their life. And she's young. And a lot of my guys are young, but a lot of them are, even some of my officers are very young, but they do very well. They will get in and do what they have to do, whether it be a medical call or a fire call or whatever. They will do, and they do a fantastic job.
We know in Franklin, they just had a training center that they've a
Yes.
tower.
Yes.
Do you guys train,
Yeah,
like
we
mutually?
we don't have a bigger training center as they do, but we have a training tower.
Yeah.
And you have to have so many hours of training per year and documented for PIL, which is a rating system.
Okay.
And we're working out, we're trying to get even more. And We try and send as many people to these schools that LSU puts on or the federal puts on now. And
Right.
all the training's got to be documented. It has to go, through PEI that we did this. And it's constant. It never stops.
Awesome. All right. Well, with that said, you guys, again, we're rocking and rolling. So come on back. We've got much more to cover right here on the Voice of the Coast. Welcome back. Let's get right back into it. Chief Alvin Cockerham with Morgan City Fire Department. Now, this next one, I want you guys to pay very close attention because there's a lot of information that I just learned. So there's a bureau chief for the fire department in Morgan City. Tell me a little bit about what that person is responsible for.
It's the Fire Prevention Bureau. We have a Fire Prevention Bureau in our department. We only have one person in here, but he's the chief of the bureau. He's responsible for all the inspections, for the businesses, programs at the schools. We've started 2 new programs with the school. One's a fire setup program to spot young children may have a problem with fire, arson, stuff like that. There are signs that you can, if you're trained, you can recognize that goes through the schools. Also,
let's pause there because we're going to get to the next thing. That is interesting.
Yes.
Again, adding more, I feel like, to the plate of a firefighter.
Yes.
So now you're kind of dealing with a little more the mental side, mental health,
Right.
when it comes to this. So if you're going into the schools, are parents or teachers able to contact you and say, hey, I think there might be a little bit of an
Yes.
issue with this child. They're showing signs of arson or playing with matches or
Right.
things of that nature. They can
Yes.
contact you.
They can contact the Fire Prevention Bureau, and it's the same number at the fire station, and let us know about it, and we'll get in touch with the proper authorities. People are trained like school teachers, know the difference in behavior when they see, because they're with the children every day. They're able to spot this more than anyone else. And we'll contact the people that can get them help.
Okay.
It's not common, but it's not uncommon either. If you find a child that may have a problem young, you may get them some help before they turn into something down the road that you don't want.
Now that's great. That's great to hear that you're able to stop it before it escalates.
Right.
I've never heard that before, so
Yes.
that's good. The second program that you guys are doing.
Okay, that's the risk assessment program. We have a program that our fire prevention chief just started, where if you have something in your house that you're not comfortable with, some dangerous situation, or you just want us to come check it, you make an appointment with us and we'll come check it. Some different things, just maybe some danger you don't realize. Some things you're doing that you might not realize might be dangerous. You might not have the fire extinguisher in the right place. You might have it, some people put it above the stove in the cabinet. Well, when your stove catches fire, you can't get to your fire extinguisher.
Gotcha.
Just simple things like that. Smoke detectors and where the locations of them are. We'll take and assess that. You don't want to put it above the stove because it's always going to go off, and it's not,
Right,
you
yeah.
want it around your bedroom before you're sleeping at night.
Gotcha.
Just different things like that.
Let's talk a little bit about extinguisher. Okay, where do I get an extinguisher from?
You can buy an extinguisher from Walmart. You can buy it from some of the businesses around town, but they're all fire extinguishers. They're rated by UL. The fire extinguishers all are rated by UL for what they'll do. You don't need a big extinguisher for your home. If it gets to where you need a big extinguisher, you need to call us. But for a pot fire or something like that, yeah.
So in a previous home that I lived in, there was a fire extinguisher that came with the home, and I never had to use it, thankfully. But do they expire?
They don't expire. It's according to what extinguisher you got. You got a CO2 extinguisher, or you can have a dry chemical. What you have to do is watch your pressure gauge. If the pressure's up, it'll show you the green on the gauge of what it says, and then you're good. On these smaller extinguishers. But that's universal. I mean, that's just as long as they're pressurized, they should be good to go.
I will tell you.
You need to get them checked every once in a while.
Okay.
But you can do that in businesses where they have extinguishers. Somebody will come around and check these extinguishers if you got a contract with them. If it's a large business.
I definitely think it's important to learn how to use an extinguisher.
It is, and we offer classes on that to these businesses. Or you can come by the fire station. We'll teach you how to use a fire extinguisher. We'll call business up. They'll call us and say, we'll need a fire extinguisher class. We'll bring out a pan, like a little diesel or something like that, and show you how to use that fire extinguisher. And it's not rocket science, but it's something if you haven't never done it.
Oh,
it's
when
kind
you're
of
panicked,
different,
you
yeah,
don't know
that's
what to
right.
do.
That's
You
exactly
know, the
right.
first thing most
Yes.
people try to go for, especially for a grease fire, which is wrong, they want to go for water.
Yeah, that's just,
Yes.
you don't want to do that. Yeah.
Very good. I love that there's a lot of outreach, but these are things I think people
Yeah.
need to know more about.
With the smoke detectors and
Well, we'll get to that definitely. I want to talk more about that because I know there's a program that a lot of the fire departments typically do. We'll talk about that when we come back. You don't want to miss this. This is our last segment. Come on back right here on the Voice of the Coast. Welcome back. This is our final segment with Chief Alvin Cockerham with Morgan City Fire Department. We were just kind of sitting here talking about the smoke alarm carbon monoxide combination detectors. Very, very important to have that in the home.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you, it resonated with me. One of the first things I heard when I moved into the area was about a family that passed away because of carbon monoxide. And it was an entire family. Like you said, it's not uncommon, but it can happen. And it's pretty scary to think about.
Yeah, it is. The best thing you do is have your heaters checked by a plumber when the fall of the year when the cool weather starts in. Don't run generators in your house or your garage or anything like that. Carbon monoxide is what they call a silent killer. You'll go to sleep and you'll never wake up. You'll never know how it happened to you. This was a bad incident. I remember the incident. I was not on duty for it, but I was coming on duty that night when those children all died in it, and it was horrible. We go around, if somebody calls us, especially someone's elderly or handicapped, we have a certain amount of smoke detectors that we go put up. We will put them up ourselves in your house where they need to be, especially if somebody's, like I say, elderly or handicapped. This past year we put up like almost 60 of them in 21 residences. And the state gives us a certain amount, and when we run out, they're more and more aggressive with this, getting us the supplies we need for this. So they're giving us more every year, and we're putting out more every year.
Okay.
So that smoke detector is going to save your life if you do have a fire. And a carbon monoxide will tell you something's wrong if your heater or something like that is acting up.
Right. Something that I had a question, and I remember watching, I look at a lot of just with the fire marshal. I go to their Facebook often because they're constantly posting. You guys post a lot.
Yeah.
Just putting out tips and safety tips. Should you go to bed with your door closed or open?
You got to go to closed.
Yes.
If you have a fire, it stays in there, or if the fire's in another room. Because if you leave it all open, the more oxygen the fire has, the quicker it's going to spread and the bigger it's going to become.
I'm going to tell you, you guys are doing a lot more community outreach, and I see a lot of the activities around the community that you guys are always there. I see the trucks there. I see the kids are being involved. And honestly, that's something if I've had, my husband has actually organized some community events and called you guys. Can you guys come in? You guys are willing to come out because the kids really love it.
Yeah, and if you get them interested when they're young, that makes a difference. And we will go to any kind of facility like that, any kind of function like that, especially with kids involved in it. If you can teach them young the basics, and you might save their life down the road, or they may save someone's life down the road.
Yep.
And it's a constant deal, and we do it, and we like doing it. We love doing it.
You're not just there really to talk about what firefighters do. You read. You go to some of the reading programs too, right?
Yes. Oh yes. We go to the reading programs. We go to all the functions down on the parks and all that. In the schools, if they need us to do, we'll come out to any school in the city. Anything like that, we can do a little public relations with the public.
And let me tell you something. You talked about everything you guys do. What would you like the public to do to maybe better facilitate, to help you guys, when it comes to fires or the education of fire safety and awareness?
Well, the best thing you can do is have a fire extinguisher and a smoke detector. They save more lives, especially smoke detectors, than we ever have. If you can get a warning, then you can get out. Don't try and fight the fire yourself. Get out the house. If the thing goes off, get out the house, making sure you know where you're going to rendezvous with the rest of your family. Might be a spot in the yard, front yard, backyard, whatever. We'll all meet here in case this happens. And sometimes you have to tell these children, but they'll remember, and they'll know what, and beep the detector. and show them this is what it sounds like when it goes off.
That's another thing. I watch a lot of videos, I just told you that. And anytime someone who's an influencer, you hear in the background that beep going off from that smoke alarm. I know typically they ask you you change your smoke alarm twice a year, and that's typically when we change from fall to spring.
Yep.
Change the battery.
Well, the ones you buy nowadays, it's a 10-year battery. It's not like the old ones. They've had to change them every year. Now you can buy the detectors you buy now has a 10-year battery in them.
Great.
So you don't have to worry about changing it every 10 years, and it will go off when it needs changing. But it's every 10 years now.
Gotcha. Well, thank you very much for this interview. I really do appreciate it. I think there's a lot of great information that came out of it. So please pass this on, share it with your friends. We are KWBJ-TV 22. Make sure to subscribe to us on Facebook. You guys take care and be safe.